So as you begin to come into class, as many of you are now coming in, sit in a comfortable pose. So, I mean, if it's comfortable to sit in Padmasana, it surely, one can. For some people, it doesn't require that much preparation or that much preparation. So if Padmasana is comfortable for you, sitting Padmasana or across the shins, or you can even sit in Siddhasana, which we did last week, just to incline your mind to remember the work that we've done. You can sit in a chair. So Peggy, I would sit, in Dandasana is a little bit harder to sit in for 5 minutes. A chair is fine. Siddhasana is ankle over ankle, heel over heel. We'll do Supta Baddha Konasana and Baddha Konasana. So principally speaking, Virasana, you're on your shins and the feet. That's it, Carla, with the top of the block support. Okay, and then bring your hands so that their palms are down, rooting the thighs down, which helps you feel the ascent of the trunk as you press the hands down on the roots of the thighs. And then if you feel in any way that you're slumping down, then take the arms out to the side and adjust the shoulder blades so that they're flat on the back. Allow your armpit chest to feel inflated as you elate and enliven the side walls of the chest. And now close the eyes to remove the outer world from your view. But even with the eyes closed, sense that the eyes are moving to the outer corners of the eyes. And just now sit and know that you're sitting. Have that intention to be present, awake to the nature of things arising and passing away. And see if you can use this time to encourage the wholesome and not the angst. Sense that this moment, like all moments, matter. And again, see throughout the day, notice when you get caught up in, and then perhaps that metaphor of vastness, spaciousness, let your outward look be vast and spacious, as it's easier to let go of things when you have that view. And then when you're ready, you can silently repeat your own personal vow or the one that we've been doing. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. May I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. And then if your eyes are closed still or your hands in front of the chest, then simply return the hands to the roots of the thighs and gently allow your eyes to open and stretch out your legs. So we're going to start just one supine seated pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, with the trunk on the vertical support. We did it last week as well. So this is, the most common way of doing supine Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together with the trunk supported, because it really aerates out the chest. And the physiology is such that the breath can circulate rather freely in the chest. Very spacious pose. So we'll begin with this. I know we've been doing several supine poses at the beginning of the class, but today we'll just do this to prepare the inner thighs. So today's lesson, we're using the pose Parsva Acuncanasana, which is the leg on the chair, as sort of a platform to all the other poses. So we'll begin with this because this indeed, if you need head support, take it as well. Let's say hi, Lindsay V is here, and Suki and Nancy and Carla. We'll just have the trunk support. So the trunk is, you can see this is vertical. So the whole trunk, your trunk is vertical on the vertical, not horizontal bolster. This way you can really air it out the chest. And then belt is optional, but make sure the belt is closer to the top of the buttocks than to the waist. And then just again, have the arms out to the side. They can be in line with the shoulders or slightly lower with the palms up. So you really feel the turning of the inner upper arm skin to the outer arm skin. Feel if you were to put your hands or hook your thumbs right underneath the armpit chest, you could feel the skin of the pectoral muscles stretch, the collarbone spreading. If your chin is much higher, lifting higher than your forehead, then taking some blanket for the neck could be appropriate. When the chin is lifted, it alerts the brain. We're just, in addition to using this pose to open the chest, we want to calm the mind, and we spoke about this on Friday, sometimes it takes a few poses to merge the body, the breath, and the mind. So generally, again, if the chin is lifting up, it can activate the brain. Putting a sandbag or eye pillow on could be helpful, or just actually the palm of your hand on your forehead skin can be helpful. In the same way, if we would, to have a tension headache, we could adjust the head, neck in that way. And again, use this time, yes, we're opening our inner thighs and increasing the distance between the sides of the pubic bone and your inner thighs, but we're mainly using this to open the chest and to merge the body, breath, and the mind. Now, because we're staying a bit of time, if your outer thighs are gripping in any way, and of course, put a blanket at the corner on a diagonal of the right thigh and the left. Just allow yourself to feel the in-breath, how it touches the side walls of the chest, and then how on the exhalation, the abdomen recedes back, sides of the navel elongate. And as you know, this particular geometry is conducive to the out-breath getting longer. Just notice at some point as we stay a bit, you might have started with a ratio of 2 and 2, and now it might be 2 and 4, which is good to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And those of you who know Ujjayi breath, the sound of the breath is in the back of the throat. You can do that as the sound of the breath in that place stimulates the vagus nerve, and that also is conducive to stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system. Sound of Ujjayi breath is like when you say you had a mirror in front of you and you would blow on that mirror, creating like a fog, but it's done with the mouth closed. Now, for those of you whose knees, probably not so much for you, see if you can hold your outer shins, if you have long arms, outer ankles, and bring the heels a little closer. So you're still in Supta Baddha Konasana, but the heels are touching your perineum. And of course, this is more for your inner thighs, but you've been here and settled in. I wouldn't have you ask you to do this at the very beginning, but now that we've been in the pose for some time, bring the heels in closer. But again, not for anyone who has any knee discomfort. Otherwise, the heels should be further away from the perineum. So in a moment, hi Janet, in a moment we'll do seated Upavishta Konasana and Baddha Konasana, which we did last week. And again, I had mentioned how important these two seated poses are. So of course, if you need the wall, then by all means, take what you need to do to arrive in the pose with ease. So with that said, Janet, you can start if you like with us in Upavishta Konasana. Take your hands to your outer thighs, draw the knees in, place the feet flat on the floor, roll to your side. And now we're going to do Upavishta Konasana. And as I said before earlier to you, Polly, you know, if the knees are bothering you, this is one of the very best poses. If you have bulky calves, it's always good to bifurcate the calf so that the back of the knee can open, and adjust this pose from the feet. If you need to sit on something, please do, or against the wall. So they said to Andy the other day, do the needful for you. So you're sitting upright with the hands on the floor, just in such a manner that the legs, good Suki, belong to the floor. Look right above the knee. That's the part of the leg that wants to bend, just like Adho Mukha Svanasana. And open up that heel hinge. Flex the feet so much that the heels actually could lift off the floor. And then spread the toes without tightening them, which actually is the hardest part of the pose. And you spread the toes, move the big toe to the baby toe without tensing the toe stems. Marina, that's really good. Your chest is absolutely upright, back of the skull aligned with the tailbone. And now create a softness in the sides of the neck, because when you take the arms overhead, and we'll do arm work. So I think, Peggy, why don't we all start with the arms out to the side, since it's the very first time we're adjusting the arms. And then just with movement, take the arms up, which is the very best way, especially if you're easing on back from an injury, it's with movement. Try to keep the elbows straight, inner elbows firm, but if they can't be firm, doesn't matter. Do this in such a manner that you're not tipping the trunk forward nor slumping back. Arms up, relax the throat, relax the arms, eyes and arms down. A few more times in that manner. Okay, and then for those of you who can, stay with the arms up for about a minute. If not, have the arms out, Peggy, to the side, or pronate the palms on the roots of the thighs. If you need to, take one hand, Suki, this might help. Turn that arm, that inner upper arm from the inside out, and then reach up. So you're doing the Ekapada Urdhva Hastasana, and then two arms. Relax the throat. Elbows firm, no elbows, no knees. No knees, no elbows. I'm just reminding, because when the arms are up, the knees tend to lift up, press the knees down. And now everyone can take the arms down. All right, now take the legs, take your right leg in to Baddha Konasana. If this is challenging, Polly, do one leg, you know, the not infected leg in Upavishta Konasana and the other leg in Baddha Konasana. You can, so either you're doing this, one leg Baddha Konasana we did last week, or one leg in Upavishta Konasana, or both of the feet as you did supine are touching each other. And then hands beside on the floor. And now press the feet strongly. It should be somewhat easeful having done it supine. If you need to be at the wall. Now, Suki, just take the shoulder blades in. Just a little bit, yeah. You can use, just that's it. Shoulder blades in. Remember, there's the option at the wall on the narrow side of the blanket. Again, those of you who can, hook under the outer shin and bring the heels in as close as you can. So eventually that heel hinge touches the perineum. Okay, and then stretch out your legs. All right, now we're doing something we've done in this time on Zoom, but we haven't done it in some time. Actually, it's easy with sneakers, especially if you have any foot issues. It's called Ekapada Mula Bandhasana. Remember, Meredith's showing it in the chair. So this is where one leg is kind of in an Upavishta Konasana, and I'm taking my right foot and I'm making it perpendicular to the floor, you see? So I'm on my ball of my right foot, my right knee is down. Now notice I'm sitting on two blankets. You can sit on a bolster. You can sit on a medium side of a block. That will make it. So Polly, this is the one I probably won't have you do. So probably go back to Upavishta Konasana. All right. So you're on some height, 2 blankets or a bolster. I'll show it also with a chair if anyone needs to. And Polly, I think maybe you remember when Meredith showed it, because I remember she had demonstrated several times this time in COVID on the chair. So see how I'm hooking my thumbs on the inside of my inner heel, because the inner heel is floating back toward my perineum, and I'm pushing. I've taught it for many of you with the plank board, or taking a paperback or book, a hardcover book, and putting it between your inner heel and your perineum. So you're aiming to get the foot perpendicular. So the weight, I want the weight to come more to the big toe side. Do you see how it stays back, Janet? Good, on the baby toe. And then the knee is down. And then the knee at some point is down. And change sides, Ekapada Mula Bandhasana. So take the leg in slowly. One side will be different dependent on the foot. It can have, because this side is much harder on my left foot than the right side. It can also be harder for the hip. So yeah, that's it. Lindsay, that's the way to do it on the chair. You're just sitting on the chair and you put your foot perpendicular, and then the height of the chair, Lindsay. So Polly, if you take a look at Lindsay, be on the screen. I'll just do it for you. So in case you don't have her on the screen, you're just sitting on the chair and doing it in this manner. It's much easier. You see that it creates a lot more space in the pit of the knee. So for someone who has any knee issues with flexion, so the higher up height is helpful. It's easier on the knee and easier to get the foot in a perpendicular position. The other thing you could do, Lindsay, V, or Polly, or anyone who's sitting on the chair, is to simply sit on the chair and have the additional support you see of the bolster, which will align the foot. Okay, let's see. So some of you are on the chair, good, Sue? Yeah, or a block. It's a really good pose. I think I told you this is wonderful for, if you've been on a plane for a very long time, if you've been sitting at a desk for a very long time. Polly, see if you can adjust the foot, more so that the inner heel doesn't fall back behind you, but bring it forward, that means you have to externally rotate your inner thigh. Good, Carla. Okay, change sides if you haven't already. For those of you who have done both sides, you could try in a chair doing both feet as I'm doing. Because that's a night you could do it both feet on a bolster, but makes it much easier to do it on a chair, both legs, if you can't do both legs on a bolster. So remember, that's good. Remember that building up height, decentralization generally makes a posture more accessible. And then ideally the knee is down. So Carla, that's good. The feet are together in front and the knees are moving any amount. Good, Jack. Okay, these look great. Ekapada Mula Bandhasana, that's one leg. Mula Bandhasana, many of you are in Peggy Mula Bandhasana, the full pose. That's it, Mary Beth. Really good to do if you've been sitting for a very, very long time. Okay, now because the knees have been in basically extreme flexion, especially if you weren't on any height, then let's do Upavishta Konasana, but take the other leg out. So I suspect that most of you at this point, when we were in the very first pose, second pose after Supta Baddha Konasana, took the right leg out, then start in Dandasana with the feet hip width apart and scrub the heel and take the left leg out. Okay, and then again, Velcro the legs. Yeah, Marita, take the trunk back when you're ready. Now go a little wider this time. Go a little wider. Keep sealing the legs to the floor. So Upavishta Konasana and Baddha Konasana are poses that as we get older, we want to do several times a week because the inner thighs get very tight, as do the hips. Okay, and then again, slide forward. But adjust the feet as you come forward in an effort to take the legs wider, that they're perpendicular. There should be Those of you who are getting any sensation in the inner knees, perhaps have gone too far. Don't want much sensation in the inner thighs, in the inner knees. There can be some more sensation in your inner upper thighs here, but not so much here. Then I would bring the legs a little bit closer together. Okay. And now come back to Dandasana, hip width apart. And now let's repeat Acuncanasana, taking the other leg in. So we generally start with the right. It's almost intuitive. That's how we teach it, and usually if it's left unsaid, that's what most people do. So we're doing these two poses again, but taking in the other side. And then again, now those of you who can, you can hold the big toes between your first two fingers and thumbs and pull it. The other option, of course, is what we did last week in Viparita Karani, and in this pose to put a block, a narrow block between the feet. And that will also. Now, Suki, just take the shoulder blades a little bit into the back. So you're really pinning them in. All right. Holly, see the difference between the right side and the left side? You can put your hand in the pit of that knee and turn the flesh. I would keep the hand there, turn that flesh. Okay, and then stretch out your legs to Dandasana, but Dandasana with the feet together. Now, we spent several classes, just again, incline your mind. We spent a lot of time on this pose this year. So observe the difference now, how much harder it is when the feet are together to keep the knees down. No gap between the back of the knee. So this is like dog pose. And actually, if one is not doing dog pose, Dandasana, although we probably don't think of Dandasana to do, but it's a wonderful pose to do. So those of you who are not bearing weight, if and when we get to downward facing dog, remember Dandasana is a wonderful option to do. Right above the knee, everybody. Open up that heel hinge, even if the heels rise off the floor. And now arms up in Dandasana. Again, not an easy posture to take the arms up. That's right, Polly. So bring the trunk wants to seat back. Good, Marina. Seal the legs. Imagine my hands there pronating on the thighs. Janet, that's good. That's really good. And the elbow, it's fine. Reach up through the fingertips. Polly, watch the left leg. It's lifting away from the floor. Right there. Okay. And now when you're ready, take the arms down. All right. So today, we did some inner thigh work just now, but I want to incline your mind to Parsva Acuncanasana, because if you get anything out of this lesson today, it's Parsva Acuncanasana, which everyone should know and do it well and do it often. So this is the pose, and I just want to show you how I'm going to show it for the first time. So you can see that my knee is pretty much in line with my hip. So ideally, I want the knee about 1 inch to 2 inches, not much higher than 2 inches, higher than the groin. So that will mean that I need to take a block. And if I wasn't so lazy, I'd get a mat piece. When I'm putting it on the chair, I'm elevating it. I'm not saying that you will need this, but you can see now the knee is slightly higher than the groin. All right. Notice how the standing left leg, the left foot is directly in line with the left ilium bone. Again, a seemingly easy pose, but rather challenging. Now, let me just show you the other point. That when you see it from behind, literally, this buttock, and now it's my left side, of the area leg should not be hiking up. The buttock flesh belongs to the buttock, and the hips are pinned in. Okay, so let's try it standing on our left leg, right foot elevated. See if you can adjust your left standing leg so it's directly underneath the left hip. Now put your right hand on your inner upper right thigh and turn it from the inside out. You will need this. Yeah, okay, I see the ankle, yep, raised. Turn the inner thigh to the outer thigh. Winnie, step in a little bit closer to the chair. Marina, these look good. Now move the buttock flesh of the aerial leg down. Carla, this is good. These look really good. Lindsay V, you could be a smidge closer to the chair. Nancy, watch the aerial foot because the knee was behind the ankle. Now, once you've gotten the geometry, standing leg directly underneath the hip, inner right knee turning from the inside out, buttock flesh moving down, put your left hand on the corner of the left hip and sense that the right knee is reaching away from the left hip. You will need this sensibility down the road when we do the crescendo of the sequence known as Parsva Hastapadasana, this pose. So see the similarities between what you're in and what I'm doing, right? What you're in and what I'm doing. There's a great similarity, right? Only the right leg in your case is bent. Okay, change sides and adjust just like you did. So get the structure, the outer structure in place, meaning now left leg on the chair, right foot directly underneath the right hip bone. And then use your hand to turn the skin of the inner upper left thigh. Polly, see if you can get the heel directly underneath the ankle, the heel directly underneath the knee. Oh, good. Carla, good. So some of you need the block and others of you don't. Turn the skin. Now move the buttock flesh of the aerial leg to the floor. And now pin in at your right hip. That's the indent. Find that right indent and sense that your left knee is reaching from the corner of your right hip. Suki, your knee, your foot, I can't see the chair, but it could be a smidge higher, just a smidge. So this, what I was, I didn't say this word, but I'll say the slope down. There's like a sloping effect. Yeah, and Mary Beth, you know, if it were any higher, I would say it's too high, okay? It's not too high now, I think, but if you went any higher, because if you went much higher, the buttock flesh would be lifting. Pin in a little bit more, Gail, at the corner of the hip. Polly, notice how your trunk, and this is, you can see the restriction in that left groin. See, when the trunk is beginning, guys, to face the left leg, you're bypassing that groin. Marina, same thing, have the trunk facing forward. So if the trunk is angular in any way, you know that your groin is restricted. If you have any questions, please ask, because this is really important stuff to know. Okay, now just finally take the, I know we didn't do it on the other side, take the arms out to the side. Peggy, you can just stay with the arms out. Everyone else, reach up through the fingertips. Carla, that's really good. So there's a lot to this, as you heard all those instructions. Okay, now take the arms down and carefully and gracefully take the leg down. All right, so now, again, as I said before, we're using Parsva Acuncanasana as a platform to the other poses.
Yeah. I have a question. I know this is going to seem so simple, but when you say groin, do you mean this or this?
Well, the groin is kind of like what I call the whole circumference of where the upper leg meets the pelvis. So there's a frontal groin,
okay.
Groin. So if you think about it, in Parsva Acuncanasana, to your point, Janet, we're mostly working on what I'll call the inner groin. There is, but it just doesn't end at the inner groin. It's also the frontal groin of the right side and the left side, but it's more of the inner thigh. So if I let my knee, this will explain it better. Can you see, if I let my knee roll in and I don't turn the inner thigh to the outer thigh, inner knee to the outer knee, then I'm bypassing that groin. Again, if I have my chest facing what I alluded to, the right leg, that groin is an opening. So Janet, in this case, I would say it includes the frontal groin and the inner thigh. It's the whole groin, like Supta Padangusthasana too, okay? Now take a block, everyone. We're going to stand with the block between the legs in Tadasana. And we're going to do the arm work. Bring the feet, if you can, as close together as possible. Now the brick, and you can play around with, if you're going to do the narrow side or the slightly wider, but you have it right when you can feel the indents. So for many of you, it will be the narrow. Some of you, it might be the wider side, but definitely not the widest side. Okay. So then Peggy, you can start the Parsva Hastasana sequence with the 3 different hand positions. All right, so standing in Samastiti, find those indents as you join the feet. So you'd be sideways, Peggy, when you're ready, so that the body would be sideways when you extend the arm. Okay. So now from here, take the arms out to the side, turn the palms up, and Urdhva Hastasana. Reach up through the fingertips. Keep the arms straight. So now it's a little bit easier to keep the arms straight. Now take the arms down. Bring the backs of the hands to the crown of the head. Get the shoulder blades flat. So Peggy, in Parsva you can do the arm, the body would be sideways to the wall, hand in line with shoulder, and then you do the first position, second position, third position, holding each position for a minute. And then when you're ready, reach up through your inner arms. And now take the arms down. Suki, you could, the pole is fine, or even putting if you're not doing Urdhva Padangusthasana, a strap around your wrist. Change the cross and then reach up. Those of you who are not doing the arm work can do Parsva. Parsva means sideways when the hand is sideways to the wall. Nancy, that's good. Okay, now one arm in Urdhva Hastasana. Change arms. Still holding the brick. And now one arm behind you is the Sarvangasana arm in shoulder balance. And then the other arm. If it's not possible to have the hand high up in the thoracic, take your hand to the level of the waist, as I've shown many times. And typically one might need to do one side that way. If you have your hand holding your waist, turn yourselves around so I can see who you are. All right, so I can know how you're doing with this. Polly, that's it. Yeah. Otherwise, I will assume the ones who are frontally facing, your hand is up at the back. But if you have your hand closer to your waist, turn around so I can see where your hand is. Janet, that's really good. All right, change sides. Janet, that's it. Hold the upper arm. Hold the upper arm. Okay, so can we do that again? So let me just show this quickly. I'm just going to kneel so I'll be in your side of you. So you're either here on the right side, left side, or you're here. Here, for that matter. There's a shoulder injury, make no mistake, it's very common to see the hand much lower down and the elbow is decentralized. This is very common to see with an injury. So you can show me from the behind and I'll be able to see how you're moving along. All right, let's repeat. Top arm, right arm comes up. Urdhva Hastasana. Keep that upper arm close to the ear. Bend it. Holly, that's good. And change sides. Yeah, when you bend it, remember, don't let the elbow go so far out. That upper arm has to remain alongside the ear. The arm work is always good 3 times a week. Janet, that's it. Okay, now turn around. Janet, let me face forward. Yeah, those of you who had the front side, turn around so I can see the other side. Yeah. Okay, one arm at a time. All right, now bring the arms down, just let go. Just let go of your arms. Okay, now do the bottom arm, right arm. I can see that arm. That's it. Maribeth, that's fine. It's either up the back or in line with the waist. All right, now change sides, left side. Pull in, that's good, Suki. Pull in. Yeah, you know, they're not even clasping. Janet, that's really good. So that's where I want you to be with that. So over time, as it's hooking the upper arm, you'll get it up the back. All right, now do this. Everyone just decentralize. It'll feel good. Arms out. Turn the palms up. And now palms together if you can. Just touch go, just with movement. Even if the arms fall forward, even if the arms are bent, just touch go. Because otherwise it's hard, you know, if we never do that final pose, it will never happen. That's it. Okay, now take the hands here, because this is the Urdhva Namaskar where the arms are overhead, the arm position in Vrikshasana tree. Press the palms strongly, and then again, touch go. Arms up, in front of the chest, arms up. Good, Janet. Arms down, front of the chest, good. Arms straight if you can. But even if they're bent and even if they're full forward, it's fine, because otherwise, if we constantly stay with that perfect alignment or with that illusion of perfect alignment, we'll never change it. Okay, now we're doing Vrikshasana. So if you think about the order, we've done the arm work, we did Parsva Acuncanasana with chair, so Vrikshasana should come easily. Those of you who can't bring the foot, will take the right foot up on the inner left thigh, use a belt, but double loop the belt. Okay, so stand in Samastiti, have the memory of the block. So every pose is building on the next one. Samastiti, find those indents. All right, and then you're going to manually lift your leg up to your inner thigh versus going down and getting it. If you need the strap, I'm gonna hold the strap, Polly, with the right hand. Okay, now find the indent. Now I gave you an important instruction in Parsva Acuncanasana. Your right knee should feel like it's moving away from the corner, the indent of the left hip. Then you will know if it feels that way that you're not listing onto the left leg, not like this. This hip has to what we call abduct. Your left hip is moving to the right as the right knee moves to the right. So we could say the right, that's it, Carl, the right knee is moving away from the left. Now find the compacting of the hips, that will help balance as well as spreading the foot. And now take the arms up, either from the front of the chest or from out to the side, either or. Try to get, see if you can bring the hands together. You won't stay too long. Good, Gail. Okay, now take the arms down and change sides. All right, stand in Samastiti. Find the indents, which is easier to find when you're standing on two legs. Okay, now press the right foot down, pause, manually. I'm taking the leg up. Now pause again and find that right indent. Sense that the left knee is moving away from the right indent, and then fold the palms in front of the chest and reach up. That's good, Mary Beth. See if you can do this without leaning into the right side, because all of you can do the pose, you all have the shape and the form, but are you really pinning in? Good. Sense now the left knee is moving away from the corner of the right hip. That comes from the indents. Well done. All right, now take the arms down and take the leg down. All right, now we're doing Utthita Trikonasana, and we spent a good amount of time last Friday, those of you who were here, but also on Tuesday, talking about the alignment of Utthita Trikonasana. So I want you to not abandon the alignment for sure, getting the sides of the chest parallel to each other, but I want you to do Utthita Trikonasana, if I said from the organic body. So the reason why I'm saying this is this. Vrikshasana, if you were to be honest with yourself, you could find there's a bit of contraction in the mind and in the body to get into that very narrow balancing pose. So as an antidote, as a counter pose to that Vrikshasana narrowing of mind and body, do a spacious Utthita Trikonasana. So let me show you what spaciousness might look like. First of all, I take the legs wide apart. Fairly wide apart, because otherwise I can't elongate the spine. So let me just show, and then I'm finding my indents. All right, then I'll turn the root of the right thigh out. Notice how, and Polly, this is what I have to, if your trunk goes a smidge to the right leg, do you see how I'm bypassing the groin? That's what I alluded to in Parsva Acuncanasana. So all these poses belong together. I'm making a little analytical today, but I think you all, having practiced, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, Mary Beth, will understand and appreciate. So I take the legs wide, I find my indents. I breathe, I take a nice inhalation, I fill my armpit chest. Then I spread my wings, which in and of itself brings spaciousness. Then watch, I stay with my legs. I don't let this leg bend. I don't let this leg bend. And then I take Utthita Trikonasana to the right, aiming to get, as we did last week, the right side and the left side of my chest parallel. And then with straight legs, I come up. Okay? So do this with the inclination of space and not so much with the details. You know the details. I want you to let space make your shape. Okay, so now with that said, take the legs wide. Keep the legs poker stiff like Upavishta Konasana. Now spread your wings and feel the prana, the life force, circulate in your chest and in your pelvis. These are poses of vast space. Now, keep your median line of your chest, the spine, in its place as you simply turn, I'll mirror image, turn the right leg, the root of the thigh. Wait there. Now press the left foot firmly down and exhale with great space. Take Utthita Trikonasana to your right. I'm just mirror imaging. To your, I'm on my left side, you're on your right. Nancy, pull up from the outer right knee to the hip. So this front leg is straight. And now see it, spread your arms away from each other, creating a vast amount of space. Marina, that's very wide. Remember, no sensations that I alluded to in your inner knees. There, yeah, if you go too wide, like in Upavishta Konasana, you will feel, Kalias, use the block for your right foot. Okay, now inhale, up you come, well done. All right, now go back to Tadasana because otherwise we tend to shorten it to the left side. Samastiti with the memory of the block, and then jump or step wide apart. Think Upavishta Konasana. Now, don't bend your legs as you come into the pose. So now simply turn the left leg from the inside out. I'll mirror image you. Keep the trunk, Polly, right in line. Don't pitch the trunk forward. All right, now take your left arm up a little bit just to get length on the left side. And now sharp exhalation, come into Utthita Trikonasana to the left. Pull back, keep the left leg straight, everyone. Outer left knee to the hip, the Mary Beth. So that left leg wants to bend, as does the right. But the left typically more. Pull up from the outer knee to the outer hip. Don't lose those indents. Now, move the arms further and further away from each other, creating that vast space. Okay, now inhale, come up. Hopefully you have the memory of space and repeat Vrikshasana standing on your left leg. All right, Vrikshasana, tree pose, standing on the left leg. So we were there a pose ago, and take Vrikshasana, tree pose. That's it. Now, we went over all the finer points in terms of the geometry. Just feel space. Now find out if creating more space by taking your arms out, then up to Urdhva Namaskar helps, or from here to here. Do what you need to do to create space. Again, if you pin in, you will be able to balance with ease. Good. And now arms down, leg down, well done. Other side, stand in Samastiti. So all these instructions are similar. Find the indents. Now wait there. Manually take the left leg up, pause, find the indents again. So there's a rhythm. And then you decide arms here or here and just stay here. Those of you who have any shoulder issue, or arms up in Urdhva Hastasana or Urdhva Namaskar. Elaine, that's really good. All right, now take the leg down. All right, now we're doing an angular Trikonasana. Now, an angular Trikonasana is often given for hip therapeutics, but the reason we're doing the angular, and I want to explain, is when you do an angular Trikonasana, which we've done many times before, it allows you to feel the clarity of those indents, okay? So let me just show it for those of you who've forgotten, might have forgotten. All right, so an angular means that the legs are at an angle. All right, so I actually start with placing my right foot and I'm aligning it. Let me just show it more clearly. Both of these mats are purple. So there's a purple and brown carpet. and I'm aligning, you can see the inner edge of my right foot is directly on the edge of the mat. And then I step back. And here's the thing, there's a tendency in angular to be too short. So I've taken the legs the same width apart as I did in the classical way, only my right foot is forward and my left leg is back. And then watch. I'm coming into the same pose, Utthita Trikonasana, to the right, but let me show you from this angle.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Janet. Janet keeps popping up on my screen. Janet, can you make sure you're muted? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
I think it's the lightning and thunder.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so let me just show on the brown carpet from the back because I think it's a better illustration of angular. So my right leg is forward closer to the wall, and you can see because it's at an angle, look how defined the skin is from the outer knee to the outer hip. So all those actions that I've been giving you get really clarified, crystal clear in doing Utthita Trikonasana. Hence why, if anyone has a hip issue, we ask them to do Trikonasana this way. Is that clear, everybody? Crystal clear? Because it's very important to know. Okay, so face frontally. It's the very best way for me to see you the way I showed it. You're frontally on the screen. So I can see if everyone's feet are, if you do it sideways, I won't be able to see it. Okay, I'll take the left leg back. So the right leg is forward, the left leg is further back. All right, now when you're ready, come into it. Many of you have to bring the right leg a little bit forward. Show me frontally the way I just showed it, because otherwise I won't be able to see. Block can be used, hand can be on the shin. There are many different ways. Utthita Trikonasana to the right when you're ready. Arm is down, it's not weight bearing, right hand runs lightly. When you see if you can get the right side of your trunk parallel, good Mary Beth, to the floor. And then with the hand on the hip, yes, turn the chest away from the floor, and then finally find that space when the arms move away. Chin away from the sternum. And now inhale, up you come. All right, angular Utthita Trikonasana. Left leg is forward now. Left leg is forward, closer to the screen. Probably step so that the left foot is aligned with bring it forward. So usually in angular, it's easier if you adjust the front foot first. Gail, that's it. Front foot is forward, left leg is behind. Just thinking of another way I can explain it. Okay, now, good, Janet. Now bend at the hips and get that clarity. Good, Janet. So for many of you, you're keeping the leg straight because the leg is at an angle. Additionally, Carla, the plank board, the block helps you draw the skin back. So if anyone's having trouble, excuse me, keeping the two legs straight, raising the foot on a block will help. Stay there, we're not staying too long. Move the chin away from the sternum. Angular Utthita Trikonasana. Okay, now inhale, up you come. All right, now we're going to Ardha Chandrasana. Today, I'm not going to give you, unless you're feeling dizzy or something, you need a wall. And of course, you could do it with your back at the wall. But I'd like to see you all today do Ardha Chandrasana freestanding from Utthita Trikonasana, because we've worked almost an hour to really get to this pose. So let me just show it. I don't think I've ever demonstrated this much. Okay, so watch. All right. So we're back to, this is now our third time doing the formidable Utthita Trikonasana. All right, so watch again. Legs are wide, legs are straight, and here I am. Then I'll bring the left hand onto the hip. I bend this leg. Can you see Parsva Acuncanasana? And then I step in, I step out with my right hand. The chest is facing you, and then I draw up. I keep that right leg straight, and I let the power of the right leg take the back leg up. Half moon to the right. Okay, let's do it. Notice when you saw that shape of Ardha Chandrasana, if you had like this snapshot, if I just flew onto my back, I would be in Supta 2. All right, take Utthita Trikonasana to the right when you're ready. Then you can go a little wider in the legs. All right, now here's the transition. You're going to bend the knee. Remember all those instructions, turn the inner right knee to the outer knee. step in with the left foot, step out with the right hand, maybe 9 inches in front of the baby toe side of the right foot. Only use a block if the right leg is bent, and then lift the back leg up. Lift it up. That's it, Marina. Lift it up. See if you can get good, Lindsay V, that leg, good, Jen, a little bit higher, 90 degrees. Pause there, then remember the chest is not turned down to the floor. Mary Beth, that's it. Now, to come out, bend the front leg. Bend the front leg. Everyone looks a little tentative today in Ardha Chandrasana. Extend through the back leg. Hit Trikonasana. So remember the exit is Trikonasana and up you come. Okay, change side. So Paul, you can do Parsva Acuncanasana. Repeat that if you're not doing Ardha Chandrasana. That'd be the very best way. All right, left leg. Start wide. Just close your eyes for a moment, because I often think that balancing poses, people get nervous about falling. Just see yourself in the pose. Have no fear. Polly, just step in closer to the chair. You're standing like, yeah. Okay. Now turn the left leg, trunk facing forward. Utthita Trikonasana. Full pose. No, not even a need to have the hand on hip. Wait there. All right, now, again, you're bending your left leg. You're stepping in with the right. And now step out with the left hand on the baby toe side of the left foot. And now lift up, lift up. Raise the back right leg up from the power of the front. Polly, inch out with that aerial leg on the chair. Okay, be much better on this side. You all have got. Now, it's good, Janet. The leg is higher on this side, almost to that board. All right, the shelf. All right, now bend the front leg, extend through the back leg. Well done. And now slowly come back to Utthita Trikonasana. Remember to hit Trikonasana for the health of the hips from Ardha Chandrasana. All right, now we're going to take a slight detour. And, I know you'll probably moan and groan with this, and I have some other options. So I've taught this a while ago. We've done it actually twice during Zoom, and I want to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to show you from behind, literally. So now I'm doing a prone. Prone means on your belly, a prone vrikshasana. This is not easy for a lot of people, but I'd like you to do 8 on the right, 8 on the left. Let me show you what it is. So if you need a strap to come into it, Polly, I'm bringing the sole of my right foot on the inner left thigh. So I'm doing a belly vrikshasana, and then I'm lifting the knee up, lifting the knee up. My hands, I'll show you from this angle. You can have your hands here. It still won't be weight bearing, or Peggy, it can be here as I'm doing. And then I'm lifting my knee up 8 times. So it's a prone vrikshasana. You're lifting your knee as you move the buttock flesh of the bent leg down. We can start prone, tuck the toes under to alert the inner thighs, and then take your right foot up. Use your right hand to smooth the buttock flesh toward the left heel. If you've never done this before, although I think everyone has done it with me, it's rather awkward, but it works. All right, now 8 times, that's it, Nance. Lift your right knee up. Doesn't have to lift up a little bit. If the knee doesn't lift up at all, it's easier to tuck the left toes under. Press your forehead and forearms and elbows into the floor, makes it a little bit easier. And lift the knee up and down 8 times. 8 times. Lift the knee. This is for the gluteal muscles, which you need to be strong to do a successful Ardha Chandrasana. Change sides. So you're lying prone. We'll get to that, Lindsay V. Yeah, that's it. The sideline. Okay, now lift the knee up. One side, you can generally see the weakness, right? Is your left side weaker than your right? Is your right side weaker than your left? Just 8 times. That's it, Carla. And then go prone. Well done. Yes, the sideline, Carla, Anantasana. That's what Lindsay V did first to get the knee. Polly, that's good. Lift the knee. Lift the knee. Keep the buttock flesh moving down. Well done. Okay. Now, let me just show you as an alternative. Actually, we might as well do these as well. All right, we have time. So what one could have done, which is an easier position for most people, is to do, I'll show from the side. You've probably seen this, is like a hydrant position, you see? So I'm gonna ask that everyone do 8 and then 8 again. You can show me from a frontal view would be the ideal thing, so I don't see you listening to the other side. Okay, hydrants, to the right, to the left, go. 8, good, Carla, that's it. Lift that knee to the level of the hip. Lift that knee, Polly, to the level of the hip. That's it, Mary Beth, knee to the level of the hip, not higher, just in line with, Sue. In line with, good. In line with, that's it, Marina. Winnie, let's see. So now, Gail, we're doing just a hydrant position. Change sides after 8, hydrant. Your hands are on the floor, that's it. Hydrant, you can feel how this strengthens the corner of the left hip. That's it, Peggy. Lift, 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 8 times. If it's challenging, take it on, maybe not tomorrow, but whatever, what's today? Tuesday, Thursday, start with 4 versus 8. Okay, now let me show you the next one. So we're going back to the prone position, which is a little bit more challenging. I'm taking a brick and I'm putting the brick on the medium side. Watch. So now I'm doing a prone. I showed you the prone Vrikshasana, you all did it. Now I'm in a prone Ardha Chandrasana, but I'm placing the block not below the knee, slightly above it. So it's on the medium side. You see, let me show frontally. It's on the medium side, right above the knee. It's actually in a muscle called the vastus medialis. And then this other leg, my left leg is straight. And then watch, I'm turning my thigh. I'll put my head down. You really won't be able to see it, but I'm turning the thigh from the inside out. Notice what you will be able to see is my foot is turned, which is fine. The foot has to turn because my inner upper thigh is turning. And that's the action you need, which most people are not aware of the Ardha Chandrasana standing leg. That thigh has to spin. So do that now, prone. Now listen, guys, before you start, if this is impossible for you to do what I just showed, you can go back to your hydrant, look, and all I'm gonna do is extend. Exactly what you just did, bend, reach, bend, reach. But notice how, unlike the first hydrant, see how much I was leaning on my left hip. Okay, so try it prone first. And if there's no, that's it, Nancy. So make sure it's not right underneath the knee, but slightly toward your inner upper thigh, and then turn the thigh. Polly, I would do it on all 4s for the hips. You'll get more action if you do it the second modification. Okay, now 8 times, good, Lindsay V, in that matter. So the leg is straight. If you're prone, the leg is straight. If you're on all 4s, good, Polly, you're bending, going back to the hydrant, then extending. See if you can do 8. So remember, you don't focus on your right foot, focus on the inner upper thigh turn, inner upper thigh turn, inner upper thigh turn, and change sides. If you're doing the hydrant, bend to straight, or if you're doing the prone. Now you're on your belly still, and your left leg is extended out. Have the block supporting that's it, Elaine, your inner upper thigh. It's not good in the inner knee itself. It's slightly above it. Okay, and now go 8 times. So you're either prone or doing the hydrant. Now, Mary Beth, that's it. Now, remember that standing left leg, if you were in Ardha Chandrasana, it's turning inside out, because you all know that in Ardha Chandrasana, what happens in the final pose is the foot falls into the median line. Okay, so guess what we're going to do? We're going to stand up again, and now having the memory of all those functional exercises, strengthening the glutes, one could predict you'd have the finest Ardha Chandrasana. Now, try not to use the wall, because there are variables. If we were conducting an experiment, they would not be clean that way. So I wanted, the way you did Ardha Chandrasana 4 exercises ago, do it now. All right, to the right, to the left. And I want you to focus, watch that foot, Marina, as you go up, your right toe should be pointing straight on, because you've turned the inner upper thigh. That's it, go, Elaine. Watch the right foot, don't let it fall into the midline. Only use a block if the right leg doesn't straighten. Lindsay V, I don't think you need the block on that high side. Certainly not that high. I don't think you need the block at all. Fingertips to the floor, I think we'll be fine. Janet, that's good. Come on, Carl, that's good. Turn that, right now, the clarity in that inner upper thigh should be crystal clear. When you move the weight slightly toward the ball of the right foot, Mary Beth, you've got it. Okay, come down, left side, okay? So just pause for a moment. And the work that you just did on strengthening the glute muscles should provide you the platform to do a very successful, when I mean successful, Ardha Chandrasana, I mean that there's no stoppage, if you will, from Trikonasana. It just flows fluidly because the firmness in the hips is there. See if you can glean that now. Lance, take the legs wider apart. Trikonasana to the left. Winnie, go wider in the legs. Trikonasana to the left. That's it, Suki. Now, Ardha Chandrasana. Bend the left leg, step out with the left hand, step in with the right foot, and step up. That memory in the hips. I hope you're, that's it. Now lift, Winnie, the aerial leg a little bit higher, Marina, a little bit higher. I want it at least parallel. That's it, Nancy. Now, remember, don't bypass Trikonasana. Bend the front leg, reach back with the back right foot. And now inhale, up you come. All right, now let's do, you did a prone Ardha Chandrasana. Let's do a supine Ardha Chandrasana, which is, guess what? Supta Padangusthasana too. All right, so with that said, lie flat, which will be a moment of rest. So everything in today's sequence you can see was highly correlated to the actions below. And that, you know, in a very good sequence, that's what you find. Okay. Now you're on your back, you've double belted the strap or made a loop for your fingers. Decentralize your left leg a smidge, 3 inches from the median line. Take the right leg to Supta 1, pause there, find 90, hold the belt with the right hand. Extend the left arm out in line with the shoulder, feel space, good, Lindsay V, and now go. Is this not Ardha Chandrasana standing on your right foot? Look at your right foot, everyone. Make it parallel, Mary Beth. Parallel. Yes. No. Now the heel's up, toes are down. Baby, yeah, that's it. Parallel. So you were standing, Mary Beth, on that left foot. Now, those who can, see if you can try this. Bend the right leg. Bend the right leg, the right. Hold the baby toe side of your right foot. Maybe the big toe, but I think it'll be, get the skin, the leg is bent, so it's easy to reach. Now, extend it. And repeat, bend it, bend the right. Parsva Acuncanasana without chair, supine. Parsva Acuncanasana without chair, supine, and then straight. One more time. Parsva Acuncanasana without chair, supine, and now straight. Ardha Chandrasana. Supine. It's the same pose. Come back to 1 and down to Tadasana. Take the left knee, same thing. Put the strap on, hold it with the left hand, weight there, leg to 90, side ribs even, extend the right arm, turn the abdomen from the left to the right, which I can say on the other side, and now reach out. This time, since you're reaching put your now right hand on the corner of your right hip, just a slightly different instruction, on the indent, not so much on the frontal groin, but actually on the indent, right indent, and now sense that your left foot is moving away from your right indent. What pose would you be in if you were standing on your right foot? Pavrita Utthita Hasta Padasana, which is really what I would say, you know, of all of the poses we've done today, the most challenging, which we'll do. Okay, now bend the left leg, bend it as we did on the right side to Parsva Acuncanasana without chair. Hold the outer edge of the left foot and now extend the leg out. So you're bending it so you can hold the foot, it's true, but experience this as Parsva Acuncanasana, the first among the first half hour that we did, and then straighten, and 2 more times in that manner, because guess what? In a moment, you're going to be standing and taking Parsva Hasta Padasana from Parsva Acuncanasana without chair. That's it, bend to straight. Okay, now you're standing. All right, now before we come into that pose, which I just alluded to, you're going to just do Parsva Acuncanasana with movement without chair. So we started with the chair, which is, of course, easier when the foot was on the block. Now we're doing it with movement, getting the knee higher and higher. Again, resist the temptation to lift to your other side. Pin it. Okay, Parsva Acuncanasana without chair. You're standing in Samastiti. You're taking your arms out and you're lifting the right leg. So now, Winnie, the legs are together. You're lifting up. The higher you go, you need to take the buttock flesh down. It's very good for balance. Parsva Acuncanasana without chair. Now you don't have the support underneath your right foot. Parsva Acuncanasana left leg. Aim the knee to your left elbow. Say, I'm almost bringing the knee to my elbow. Almost bringing the knee without taking the arm lower to the elbow. Lift higher and higher. Lift higher and higher. Okay, now I guess if you know do exactly what you did supine. So now you're going to go back to Tadasana, Parsva Acuncanasana, hold the baby toe side of the foot, and Parsva Hastapadasana. Okay, when you're ready, Samastiti, find the indents, lift the right leg up, hold the outer edge of the foot. That's it, Mary Beth. So now the knee is, you can see the knee is higher than the groin. Remember the point I told you on the chair. And now pin in at the corner, good, Carla, left hip, and reach out. That's it. So this is the crescendo pose. Only use support if you absolutely need it. It's not a bit, of course you can use support, but with this sequence today, we were going for freestanding. Well done. Change side, won't keep you long. All right, stand in Samastiti. Okay, now lift your left leg up, weight there. The strap can be used for freestanding. Turn the inner thigh. See that? Good, Mary Beth. The knee is higher than the groin, Elaine. Good. Now, from the corner of your right hip, reach the left leg out. That's it. If you need the support, take it. Lindsay V, watch how you pin in much more at the corner of the right hip. Yes. So the trunk stays up in its median plane, just like Supta 2. Marina, see that your left armpit is aligned with the shoulder. So what I'm saying is, for a lot of you, it's not a question. You can do it. You have the ability to stand on one leg. What's happening is that you're losing the median line that you all got in Supta 2 on when you're standing. So this was good to observe. All right, now let's just take a quick reprieve. Do Supta Baddha Konasana again, no support, just flat, and then we'll see how much time we have. All right, so we did a lot of standing work, and I think we'll go to our side in a minute, but just take as an interlude Supta Baddha Konasana flat. Feel good on your back, and it's symmetrical. So you can, Janet, to your point, you can see that this sequence is as much for the inner thighs and frontal groins of the standing leg per se, the inner groin of the bent leg or straight leg for that matter, as much as it is for the strength of the gluteal muscles. And you need both. Okay. And now when you're ready, we're going to roll. Let's do this. We'll go on our left side. Most people will need a blanket so that the head, the sides of the head are parallel to the floor. And we're going to touch, this is Parsva Tadasana. So it's Tadasana on your side. And then this is like Vrikshasana. Think about what we've done. We've done tree pose standing. We've done it prone. Now we're doing it sideline. And then at some point, we'll take the leg up. All right, have a strap and a blanket. And we'll do this pose called Anantasana. All right, so start actually with each stage bears its fruit. So stack the feet because this is the basis for Vashisthasana. Buttocks are moving toward the heels. And then just to engage your abdomen, instead of having your right hand on the floor, just put your right hand on your navel or alongside the right hip. So you're using this to get some core strength. So you're here in Parsva Tadasana. Now you're going to bend the right leg in the same manner we've done, placing the sole of the right foot as high up on your inner thigh. Those of you who can, if you can't bring the heel into the perineum, so be it, but manually adjust it. Now take the knee back toward the wall, buttock, groin forward. So buttock, groin forward, knee back. Right there, stage 2. Now, for some of you, like we just did, do you see how you just did this standing? The knee is slightly higher than the groin. It's a Parsva Acuncanasana sideline. And then you'll hold the baby toe or the big toe, if you need to, the strap, and now stretch the leg up. Acuncanasana. Good. Keep turning the inner thigh to the outer thigh so that the 4 corners of the knee are facing where your head is facing. Good. Keep moving the right buttock flesh down toward the left heel and move the buttock forward, leg back. Leg moves back, buttock forward. Well done. And now change sides. Keep the strap, although you might not need it on this side. Adjust the head so the ears are running parallel to each other. Starting, so the first stage of Acuncanasana is Parsva Tadasana with your feet stacked. And now have your left arm alongside the hip. That's it. Pause. In order to stay side lying, you have to recruit your abdominals. Now bend your top leg, pause, heel is close into perineum, sole of the foot on the inner right thigh, knee back, buttock forward, groin open. All right, now do Parsva Acuncanasana side lying, hold the outer edge of the foot, that's it, Parsva Acuncanasana reappears here. That's it, Carl, and then stretch the leg. Use the belt, yes. Janet, see if you can keep, if you're using the belt, then see if you can choke down a bit on the strap to keep that left arm indeed straight. You may not touch the outer edge of the foot or the big toe, but that's it, Nancy. So the arm is ideally straight, that left arm, just like Supta 2. It's just like Supta 2. In fact, just do this. Hopefully none of you have anything hard behind you. Just roll back supine to Supta 2. And so you can see Supta 2 holding the foot. Supta 2 holding the foot. Just roll back. There you are. Good, Nancy. All right, now come up to Acuncanasana. Recruit that abdominal strength. Recruit it. Okay, take the leg down. Go back to the right side and we'll do the same thing. So go touch Acuncanasana, go to Supta 2, and then use your abdominal strength to come back up to Acuncanasana. So you see they're the same thing. Acuncanasana, right leg up, run your left side now. We did this side already, Acuncanasana. We didn't do fall back. Okay, that's it. Should come easily now. All right, now nothing's behind you. Fall back to Supta 2. Fall back. Because sometimes we do fall back and there's nothing, it's actually quite good. Go back to Supta 2. Now recruit your abdominal strength. Come up into Acuncanasana. Come up into Acuncanasana. That's it, Elaine. Come up. You have to get a little bit of momentum, a smidge of momentum. That's it. Okay, now come up. I think we'll leave the arm balance piece till Friday with this sequence. Let's go back to Upavishtakonasana. Take it wide, and then some of you might need a bolster in front of you or a blanket or two, and we're doing Upavishtakonasana, bringing our trunk to the floor or to the bolster. Okay. So most of you will probably better off taking your arms out to the side and going forward and extending them forward, because when they're forward, the upper back tends to round. All right. Yeah. So remember, build up the height so that your whole, not just the chest is supported, but the below the navel is supported, the navel band. And then extend the arms out to the side so that the trapezius can move down. That's it, Mary Beth, toward the waist. It's not to say it's wrong to extend the arms forward, but most people's back rounds. That's it. That's it, Marina. Support your whole trunk so it's relaxing. So err on more height. Yeah, you can also show me from, Elaine, that's good, from the side. Take a good amount of height so your whole abdomen is supported. Lindsay V, I think the arms going out to the side will help you not do that kind of thing. Yeah, you see? So you see it. So this is, it's not even, you don't have to remember this. It's just, listen, when the arms are forward, the back tends to round, and you can see the trapezius is falling on my neck. When I take my arms out to the side, my shoulder blades move away from my trapezius. So it's a rare bird who can do coming forward in Acuncanasana with their arms forward. And then additionally, Mary Beth, as you've done, the arms high, lifting the elbows up. Peggy, you know what would be good for you is to taking the arms, actually, if we had even like 2 stools, the arms a little bit higher for you. Because again, the arms are too low and it's causing the upper back to round. Lindsay V, that's much better. This is a very Carly, yeah, that's it. It's a challenging pose to do without a teacher because I can observe your back body, you can't. So if you don't have the, if you don't have the proprioception in your back body, it's rather hard to adjust. Marina, that's good. Move the chin away from the sternum. See if you can, this pose, I'd like you to stay in a bit of time with relative ease. I know it's challenging to stay in a seated forward bend, although this is much easier than Paschimottanasana. Keep gluing the outer upper thighs to the floor. And that's good. So the arms, you can see, help you decentralize, move your upper spine in away from the ceiling, and the trapezius is not falling on the neck, but rather moving away from it. Now slowly, when you're ready, come up. All right, in the same way, just because we have a minute to do, but we'll do it quickly, take Paschimottanasana. All right, so now the feet are apart and you're coming forward. If this is challenging on anyone's back, do Acuncanasana coming forward. If you've had enough with going forward, then lie on your back with the legs on the chair. Because I would say for most of us, seated forward bends are challenging. Peggy, that's better with the elbows supported. So now you can see the trapezius is not ascending toward the head side. Yes. Mary Beth, the other option for you would to take the bolster that's to your right side and put it left side and putting it in front of your feet. And then because your hand, and then reaching out, again, that width will help. If you're having trouble coming forward, and many people do, then the very best way, let me show you, because we haven't done a seated forward bend in a few weeks, is to sit on a chair, like I'm doing, and reach out to the wall. You see? This is much easier, and you really feel what a successful quote unquote forward bend feels like, because the legs are not straight. Much easier to merge my abdomen with my thighs. So Janet, others, that's a possibility. Colleagues, and remember Paschimottanasana seated. All right, everybody, well done. Now, Shavasana in any way, shape, or form you choose, be it on the chair, bolster underneath the knees. It's interesting, if you think about the last 2 poses, Acuncanasana coming forward and Paschimottanasana coming forward, that's kind of a segue into Shavasana. Versus just say if we were to do, oftentimes the class ends and we're doing a pose, always conducive to Shavasana, but not, 2 or 3 poses for Shavasana. So seated forward bends incline your mind and body toward relaxation. Just note that. And again, adjust yourselves well. so that there's no struggle in lying down. Relax your throat, your eyes. Nancy, that's good. Put the bolster there to traction the lower spine. Yes, that's a good option, Nancy, after seated forward bends, especially if your lower spine bothers you. To pronate the palms on the tall bolster side, push the bolster into the roots of the thighs and lengthen your lower spine away. So that's for anyone who has, maybe feeling a twinge after the seated forward bend. And just relax, although easier said than done. Just observe, we alluded to that count of the in-breath on 2 and the exhale on 4. It may not be that at this moment, but it might become that shortly. Making the exhalation longer than the inhalation. And when I say making it, not in the way that that's forceful or intentional, let it happen on its own because you're relaxed. It will happen on its own. Give yourself this invitation to relax, not as an order, but truly as an invitation. Just once again, be grateful for this time that you have to be in Shavasana. To create this calmness, the sense of presence and spaciousness. As I said last week sometime, approaching gratitude as a state in the mind and in the body versus a subject object being grateful for. But what does this state of gratitude feel like within? Grateful for having spent the time accessing your body, accessing peace and relaxation. I said earlier when we sat, encouraging the wholesome and not suffering. Doing yoga is encouraging the wholesome. You can perhaps even sense a quality of reverence. Putting aside everything else. You need to do that now. You need to figure anything out. You need to improve. You need to become. Just be. Now perhaps making a mental note of the in-breath and that out-breath, how it's naturally grown in length. The exhalation perhaps twice as long as the inhalation, or more. And for those of you who want to spend the last very few minutes that we have together sitting, sometimes it's nice to sit, that's fine. If you prefer to stay supine or prone, that's fine as well. So just choose what you kind of naturally feel like your inclination is. Be it seated or supine or and find that if you're seated, that upright, dignified posture, sitting up tall. Likely that sitting up tall will be easier now than it was at the very beginning of the class because your body has adjusted to all the shapes. And when you're ready, you can let your eyes open and stretch out your legs. So I'm going to stop the recording. And then if you want to ask any question, please do just unmute yourselves.